I like the chat before the chat. It all works for me. And I know there's one other thing I want to do, which is I want to pop that out. Hi, Brett.
Good morning.
How are ya?
Outstanding. Yourself?
I, me too. I am feeling very good. Very, very good. Okay, so I've got that going and oh, Brett, this is my friend Mike Van Horn, and Mike and I have known how long we've known each other, I think 30 years.
Holy cow, how's
I,
that possible?
well, we were babies when we met, but I think it has been about 30 years, seriously.
Well, Judy and I have known each other for like 30 days.
Well, Brett, why don't you guys talk about what you do? Because this is something that would be relevant for what Mike does.
All right, fire away, Mike.
I, well, I have two strands. I write science fiction, and I have a website for that. And I also just finished a marketing book. And so we have a website for that on Medium. And so I'm trying to balance these two, fiction and nonfiction.
Whoops.
Okay, well, very good. So I'm the founder of a fulfillment company originally called Speaker Fulfillment Services. So our clients are primarily authors, speakers, and information marketers. For some of our clients, that just means straight book fulfillment. So we integrate with their shopping cart or whatever and take care of their order fulfillment. For other of our clients, we do products beyond the book for them. So if they have a home study course or something like that, we do the actual printing, packaging, et cetera, of that. Then on a side note, I'm basically that company was founded about 20 years ago, and I've done a fair amount of speaking under the company name, but I'm now in the process of branding Brett Ridgway as a brand and working on a masterclass related to how the speaking industry really works and what you need to do to get gig ready as a speaker.
Oh, great. I used to do a lot of speaking for my business books. And I worked with a woman named Anastasia something. I can't remember her last name.
Anastasia Schuster.
Yeah. Okay. And
Yeah.
she helped set up a lot of speaking gigs for me.
She a booking agent, so to speak.
Yep. Yeah, she is. She's amazing. She's amazing. I met Anastasia through another person, and she was working. She'd gotten laid off from her regular job, and she got this temporary job, it seemed, and she started coordinating events and doing things. And then she realized, I don't need to work for her. I can work for myself.
Yeah.
And she launched her business, and it's been going, oh boy, probably 15 years at least. She's very savvy. She worked in the travel industry before she started doing this, so she really knows how to coordinate events, and she knows how to herd cats is basically how I look at it.
Well, that's a valuable skill.
It is. It is indeed.
Yeah, I think I was probably working with her about 15 years ago.
Yeah, when she first started. Yeah, and Jeannie, go ahead and unmute yourself. We're gonna just chat a little bit while we wait for folks to get here. We're the early birds. We are the early birds. Jeannie writes young and middle grade books, and she's won awards, and she's pretty savvy, and I love her books. They're fun, and you're working on a new one, aren't you? Jeannie, you need to unmute yourself. Still, we're not hearing you, honey. Here, I'm gonna unmute you. There. Nope, gotta unmute.
Okay.
Yay! Okay.
So anyway, first of all, a disclaimer: I am not savvy on anything except, on some things, but not on any of this Amazon stuff or marketing stuff. That's where I'm not savvy at all. So that's why I'm here. But anyway, yeah, I have the proof now of this little poetry book that's going to come out in about 2 weeks. It has a stripe across it, but it's going to be Dragonfly Dreams. And they're illustrated poems for, I'll show you my sweet Sue. She's so pretty. And Colleen Dwyer was the illustrator, who's over in no, she actually lives in Petaluma, but she does stuff for a lot of different people. But anyway, so you get the idea. Here's,
Oh,
I don't know if you can see that.
Nice illustration.
Yeah, very nice. So anyway, I'm excited about that. And this is nothing like anything else I have out. I have 3 other books out, 2 novels that are a series. One takes place in Austria, one takes place in France. They're kids, they're young teenagers. Journey to Andersveld and Journey to Outremont are those 2. And then a chapter book, Lila Dillon, The Magic Kit. So those are the books that I have out. That's the end of that. I was a teacher for 32 years, 33 really, counting all of them. And then I retired. And so now I get to write. So here I am.
I love it. I love it. Oh, for those of you who just joined us, we're just kind of chatting before everyone gets here. So you're free to unmute yourself and just say who you are and what you're up to. And that would be great, because I'd love for you all to meet each other, because all of you know something somebody else doesn't know in the group, which is fun. But we should have about, well, I was telling Mike before you all got on, some people had said, oh, I'd be there, but I'm going to be watching the rest of the January 6th hearings. And I went, they can record that.
Oh man, is that on right now?
Yeah, it is on right now. But this is my reaction is like, I want to throw things at the screen, because I think it's a colossal waste of money and time, because we already know there's bad stuff that happened.
Yeah.
But I won't get political beyond that. So I see Jeannie Sloan is here, and Cassie Clayton, and Carol Jacobson. Yay! Deborah Taylor French, Ginny, and Joy also. So I'm going to give people about 3 more minutes before they all get in. So if you'd like to just chat and say who you are, just do
Can
that.
I ask a question?
Hi, Deborah.
Hi. I'm an obsessive and compulsive note taker, but I would like to know, are you giving us any, is there like a written thing, or we can rewatch it?
You got it you got an email yesterday.
Yes.
And you got one this morning. You got one this morning that has the handout.
Okay, I know. You are the most organized person. Thank you so much for doing this.
You are very, very welcome. And I'm probably going to be sending you some extra stuff afterwards, because I went, you can only do so much. And I thought, I don't want to be the fire hose person.
Yeah.
So I do want you to ask questions. I want, this is interactive. This is not me doing this. But for right now, Deborah, tell people what you write, because you write a couple different genres.
I do.
Like me.
I actually write poetry and have been doing it, a lot of bad poetry most of my life, and then finally found a group and started writing better poetry. But my main focus is my Dog Leader Mysteries, of course. I have a blog, which I need to revamp, so this is perfect timing for me to know how to make this better. And also the Dog Leader Mysteries, Red Sky at Night, was terrible timing. I spent 20 years writing a book, and we had that horrible fire in 2017. So long story short, people think I'm trying to trigger their trauma, right? So anyway, yeah, really, I probably will go on TV or on radio and talk about that. But no, I've had many people just walk by and say, no, I can't. I'm trying to say I never was capitalizing on anything, but whatever.
Yeah.
So I've gotten beyond that, and right now I'm also, as you'll see me in Redwood Writers Anthologies, many memoirs too. So short memoir. Thank you.
Awesome. And let's see, Jeannie, tell people. Well, this is so funny, Jeannie. You told us that you got optioned again, and last night I was at Napa Valley Writers, and I don't know. I have to confess, I did not watch Little House on the Prairie, but I bet a lot of you did. And Charlotte Stewart now lives in Napa, and this is her this is her story. And one of the funniest things was she was filming Little House on the Prairie at the same time she was doing Eraserhead with David Lynch. I know. So
That's a guess.
she's 81. She was a kick and a half, and this book was co-written with Andy Dembski, and so she told stories, and he organized all the material, and that's how they created the book. But anyway, this is funny. So when they were talking, I immediately thought of Jeannie. So Jeannie Sloan, tell them what you do.
I have written 4 historical novels. They are based on amazing women during World War II because they've been left out of history. It is in doing the research on them, it is, let's say, the second wave of women's lib, the first being the voting, but the men left and the women were liberated. They welded, they riveted, they flew planes, they became spies, they became war correspondents. And it was a second wave of women's lib. The men came home and the women had to go back to the kitchen, enjoy their new appliances, and reproduce. And that ended that wave
Yeah.
until the 60s. But I love writing about the women during World War II because it took guts and they were discriminated against by men they had to work with. They had to rise above it. Not only was there ethnic discrimination, but there was gender discrimination.
Right. It's so unfortunate, that people get weird about, what chromosome do you have? Can you do that job? Like, it doesn't matter in most cases. So I love that you're doing that, and it's amazing. It is amazing. Carol, do you want to share what you're up to?
Well, one of my books, my latest one, Women of Color and Accomplishment, Fighting for Equality, it kind of segues from what Jeannie was saying, because my whole purpose is to talk about women who have accomplished a lot, women of color, and of course aren't in the history books and struggled against huge odds. And I'm currently working on my 3rd book of this series, but I come from this as a painter, and so I make portraits of the women first, and then write the stories. And so I do brief bios, and I'm aiming for the all audiences, but especially the high school audiences, because I want to make sure these people, especially the young girls, know of people who have been before them. And my latest book is now not so much history. I still have historical, because this book 2, which you can see in the background, is about the civil rights, and I go through from the war and Reconstruction and follow up. But now there's so many young women doing amazing things, because of gun control, prison reform, child brides,
Oh my
all
God.
in this country. I'm focused on this country. Of course, it's happening worldwide, but
Mm-hmm.
so that's what my passion is now.
Well, I already can feel that there's some collaborations that are going to happen in this room. So this is amazing. Um, let's take a few more minutes of everybody just saying who they are and what they're up to. And I can see, let's see who's next on my I'm going down my list. Cassie, tell people who you are.
Hello. I'm Cassie Clayton. My company is Stargazers Unite. What I do is I work with spiritual and heart-centered business owners to create their websites, logos, graphics, and branding materials for their business. And kind of why I wanted to hop into this group is I am actually I had a wonderful conversation with Judy, and we also I also have I help people. I can help people with their book launches and things like that to help promote their book launches. So it's kind of one out.
She's already introduced me to another potential client, so I'm going, yay! I love it. She's a collaborator, so that's a good thing. Okay, and let me see. Evelyn, hi there. We haven't talked in a while.
No, I last saw you at a CWC meeting.
Right.
I've written and published two memoirs through She Writes Press, and I'm working on a third. And the second one is the one that's behind me, Love in Any Language, and it's about a long-term marriage to somebody from another culture, and it's a lot about women in the 60s and 70s and what was expected in terms of raising children instead of having a career. But anyway, but my real passion is travel. So I'm 2/3 of the way through a third memoir. I really like looking at who I was and what I've become and how that happened. So
Very nice. Very nice. And Ginny, hi. How are you doing?
Hi. Yes. No, I've been doing a lot of different things. I think I've published about 200 books at this point. I do a lot of self-publishing, and I also do a lot of ghostwriting for clients. And I've just had some great clients. I've been doing kids' books as well as adult books. And recently I've been experimenting with AI. And it's amazing the way AI can actually write things. So I actually wrote an article and then I turned that into a book where all the writing is by AI and also the illustrations. And I raised the question of at some point, is AI going to replace writers and artists?
You know what? It's so funny that you say that because I'm a real fan of Joanna Penn, and really I look at AI as another tool in our toolkit. So it's not going to replace our brains because we have to supply information, but it's a way to do a lot of research and get ideas and generate things. So I love that question. I love that question. Joy, good morning.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Well, we're going to move on to Pamela if I don't see Joy.
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
Oh, there you are. Okay, great.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I got the time mixed up. I thought I was at 10 and I was out because I have a class on this morning. But anyway, so I'll listen later to everybody's stories. I'm Joy Selden. My book is called Emotions, an Owner's Manual. And so that's my wheelhouse, and my passion is to educate people about emotions so they become their greatest asset instead of the liability that they so often are.
Oh, yes, I kind of had that happen last week. Dealing with the insurance company and my car claim. Ugh. Yeah, it all worked out, but boy, was it a challenge. Pamela, are you there? Would you
I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be here till about 10 o'clock, and then I'm going to have to get the rest of it on recording because I'm actually teaching today. I'm a special ed teacher in addition to being an artist and a writer. And don't get too excited yet. I got the book, and when I went through it, there are 6 blank white pages at the end of this book. And nobody, Ingram has nobody that you can talk to, so I'm trying to figure out how to get this
I
out.
have someone for you to talk to, so I'll send you his name and his information. I have a real person.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew.
I know.
Get on here, you learn something new. Even if it's not about your subject, you learn something new. So thank you.
No, and that's exactly why we do
Congratulations.
this. Yeah.
You're close, getting close.
I'm getting close. I had to move the book launch from the beginning of November to the beginning of December, but more about that soon.
It's before Christmas.
It's before Christmas, and I think I can release it on Amazon a little before that, but yeah.
Okay. Did we get everybody? I think we got everybody. I'm just going to take a quick look.
Judy, could I just lift up my book and show my
Oh, yes,
cover?
please. Yes. Well, you have multiple books.
Because I write science fiction all the time, the last 5 years, I've been co-authoring this book on marketing for small business owners. And so we're just on the verge of publishing this. This, as you can see, is the proof copy, but we'll be getting this out within a week or so.
Awesome. And Brett, because everybody didn't get to hear who you are, would you mind doing a re-intro of yourself?
Sure. My name is Brett Ridgway, and actually Judy and I are getting ready to collaborate and do a little class next month on basically the speaking industry and how you can use speaking to sell more books. But I am a 7-time author of books related to the speaking industry and authorship, etc. And have also founded a fulfillment company that handles the back-end order fulfillment for a lot of authors and speakers.
And I will tell you, Brett knows so much. Y'all, after this, if I have your permission, I would be happy to share people's names and contact information so that you can collaborate, because that is really the name of the game in book marketing. It's talking to people, having conversations, being clear. And I should introduce myself since I'm the hostess here. I'm Judy Baker, and I work with authors to take their words from pages to stages, monetizing their books without going broke or crazy. And the reason you're all here today is we're going to be talking about author pages. I sent out, I mean, I am so excited. This experience of sharing with each other about our books, about our intentions, and then how do we get people we don't know to see what we have and to up our authority. What I've done for you today is I'm going to be showing examples, and I picked some of you from the list of participants, and we're going to look at your pages. We're going to walk through what you need, and if you didn't already get the handout, you'll see in the chat there is a link to the Google Drive doc, which is a PDF, and it's a pretty comprehensive handout, and we're going to go through that as well. And as I said earlier, we're recording this. I'll be sending out the link to the recording. Oh, we got another person who just showed up. And the intention is every month I'm going to be doing a different topic masterclass. And I would love to have you guys come back. It just is my gift to share this information, because I'll tell you, when I walked into my first Bay Area independent publishers meeting, I didn't know anything about publishing. Guess who was at that? That was a conference. Stephanie Chandler, Carla King, Joel Friedlander, the people who are like, you know, my gods in the world. They were all just starting their businesses in helping authors. And I love it because I was friends with Joel until he passed away. I'm friends with Stephanie. I can call on Carla. I just love it. And that is what I learned very early on. It's not just what I can do, it's how I can help other people. I want to get the obstacles out of the way, because we all know, well, just like Pam was saying, I can't get a hold of anybody at Ingram Spark. Well, we know their customer service sucks now.
Terrible.
And I'm being very honest. They know there's a problem. But since Robin Cutler turn the reins over, it's been kind of a difficult situation. So we want to help each other so that we can focus on what we like doing, which is the writing and speaking about our books, rather than all the technical crapola that we have to go through in order to make our stuff available. So what
Can you post the link again? Because I
oh,
didn't
it's
get the
right there in
handout.
chat.
It's not in chat because I can't.
Let me
I
do,
came
okay,
in.
let me copy it then, honey. I'll do it again.
Thank you.
I think it will. Yeah, there we go. There you go. All right. And it was in the email that I sent out too. And I hope you all got it. So I was dealing with the technical crapola yesterday. It was funny. And I think I'm going to get rid of my sparkles because they're making me look like I've got antlers. I didn't check that out. I know. So what I wanted to do first is I'm going to just share my screen so that you can see, this is my author page. We're going to be looking at some of yours too, as I said. Now, at this point, what's remarkable is all of these are anthologies. I have not, confession time. I have not finished the 2 books I'm working on. I was working on one of them when I got cancer in 2013, and it is a book on marketing, which I'm now revising to focus on authors and small business owners. And it was about 2/3 of the way written, and I haven't I started to get back to it, and then this thing said, you have to write your memoir. You have to write your memoir. And so that's been rattling around, and now I have really good access to it, and both of those are going to happen in 2023. They will be out. So what I did, because you have to have a published book before you can have an author page on Amazon. And I believe everybody here has a book that is published. That's the only thing you have to do. You can also have a book in pre-order if your book wasn't ready yet. But once you have a book in the Kindle Direct Publishing system, then you can create an author page. And if anybody wants to know how to do what I did, which was to add the anthologies, I'll be happy to share that info. In fact, I've got a YouTube video on it. So here's my author page, and you can see there's a lot of stuff going on here. There is all the books that I think I've got all the books in. I think I haven't missed anything. And I've got my bio over here, which is pretty lengthy. And I think I changed up some stuff. But look at one of the things that I've done, which I think most of you have not done. Do you notice I've got my URLs in here? How you can reach me, how you can find out more about me. So I've got my book marketing mentor website, my Judy M. Baker Linktree. Do you all know what Linktree is?
No.
It's a service where you can create, so you have a single URL and people click on that, and then they can go and see all the places you want them to visit, from websites to, you could have affiliate offers in there. You can have all your social channels, but we'll talk about that another time. But go check out Linktree because you can do it for free or do a paid thing. So Linktree is really cool. And then I've got my YouTube channel on there. So you see, I'm letting people in to my community, which is what you're intending to do. The idea being, just like we're having a conversation right now, when you allow people to find out about you, because, if I found an author and I really want to know what's next, I want to know how to reach them. I want to know how I can get more of what they've got. And this is a perfect opportunity. And remember, this doesn't cost you anything. Your author profile, your author page is a free resource. However, think of the number of people that are coming to Amazon to look at you, to sample you, look at your books. So we've got all these goodies here. And see, the other things I've got here, I've got some video. And so if you click on that, it's going to play the video, and that could be from YouTube, could be from Vimeo. You could, you can decide where that is, but you can include that, and blog posts, because you can link your blog. And I mean, it just goes, oh, I'm sorry, that was funny. This is something that's up in my office. I did a blog post quite a long time ago. I played Romeo in my first official theater appearance because I was the tallest girl in the class. The boys, oh God, they were so short. This was, 4th grade. And there's a picture of me playing Romeo. And Juliet is up on a ladder. So anyway, that that keeps me humble to remember that was, me back then. So I've got all these, great things. I've got pictures of me, and I'm going to be getting some new headshots, but you can add all of this great media right into your author page. So, and then you see here, all the books are listed. And now I'd like to show you one of the other folks who are here. I want to show their author page. So I've got examples. Let's see. Oh, she's not here. Oh, this is someone who's not here. I was listening in a networking meeting, and Janie Becker came up, but look at, she doesn't have an author page. Her book comes up, but she's missing out on all these great opportunities to share more information. And I always go, oh, are you really an author if you aren't letting people know more about yourself? And, oh, Joy, here you are. So here we are on Joy's, and you also need an author page, because if there's nothing here to click, that means no author page. So her book is there in all the formats, which is awesome. So that's step one. But then doing the next step is to get your author profile up there. And let's see. Oh, Mary isn't here either, but I'll show you what happens. So Health for All of Us. This is someone who is in one of my networking groups. And Dr. Mary Zennett has her books up. And then if I click on her name, the books come up, and she too does not have an author page. And whenever I do that, I'm going, okay. I feel like I've just hit a dead end. Do you get the idea? Not the best use of your brand. And Jeannie, we're going to work on this for you. So here's Jeannie's books. You can see she's got 4 books. And when we click on her name, she's got some of her goodies up here. She's got, and I should follow you. That's the other thing. If people like you, they can follow you, and then they'll get alerts when you have new books coming out. So Jeannie has all of her books, but I will work with you to get your anthology books included. And she has her updates, but I'm not sure if you've got it linked to do you do a blog, Jeannie?
No.
Okay, then, but you can still do updates without it being linked to your blog. You can put other stuff up there. And then, she's got her bio in here, which is great. And then the thing I would do with you is I would suggest that you put in a link to your website or any videos that you have, because again, it'll amplify your authority. But this is really great. So you can see that once you start adding parts to this, and like a website, like any website, it's never, well, it's not like the tablets that came down from heaven and they're done. You're not adding new commandments. Websites are works in progress, and they're viable, they're living. So it's pretty cool. And again, you'll be able to see all the different formats of the books, but this is great. And look at her headshot. Do you not want to talk to this woman? She is relatable. She's approachable. She's real. And any time you work with a photographer to do a portrait, that is exactly what you want. You want to be inviting people to know you.
Judy,
Yeah.
two things.
Yeah.
That's how I met Star
Star. Yes.
I don't know what happened to her.
Oh, she's moved to Oregon.
Oh,
She and
I
Bill,
think she got
she and Bill
burned out.
relocated. Yeah, they got burned out
Yeah.
in the fire, and they were looking, and Bill wanted to move back in the same. She said, no, we're not moving in the same area.
Well, I met her in 2012, and I got to go to her ranch.
Yes.
And
Oh.
it was a ball. She had costumes.
Yep.
She was just terrific. I was so happy to go there and have that done. So a second question I have an audio book, which I guess it's on audible.com.
Oh yeah, you can still list it here.
So I can link it or something.
You can list it because it's your book. You and I can talk about that, but yes,
Okay.
all the different formats, print, ebook, Audible, can all go in here. If you've got a large format, large print, all the different parts can go in here, and I can go through that with you. But we won't be able to cover that today, but I'm happy to work with you offline. So that we'll have a date. We will have a date. Brett, you've got a question.
I noticed on the bottom of the author bios, you can link off Amazon to other sites. All right.
Yeah, you can.
They have no problem with that, apparently.
No, they don't.
Is there any reason you couldn't say, hey, if you want an author signed copy of the book, go buy it at my website?
Oh, I think you could do that. I don't think there's a problem. What you might want to do is you want to tell people they can go to your website and exactly what you said. And more authors, and this is the other thing, more and more authors are selling directly from their website. And
Yeah.
there's some really
obviously, if you get them to buy it from your website, you're going to make more money than on an Amazon sale and get custom information.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on a second. I know I'm trying to look at things. Who else had their hands raised? It's not showing me who had their hand raised.
I do.
Oh, okay. Mike and then Carol.
Okay, so related to what you just said, we're talking about doing a PDF version of the worksheets in our workbook. Can we then advertise those on our author page? They'd have to get those, they'd have to be downloaded from our websites.
What I might suggest is in your book, if you have, is the book done? Is it completely done?
Yes.
Do you have in the book that people can get downloadable PDFs if they opt into your email list?
Yes.
Okay, then you could then say the same thing in your author profile. Yeah,
Okay.
I would do that. I would definitely do that. And Carol, you had a question. Oh, did I answer that?
Yes.
Okay, you're good. Okay, Carol?
Is a post on a web page the same as a blog for listing on your author page?
Yeah, if it can have an RSS feed, which is really simple syndication, then you can link it. And there are instructions in Amazon Central. Ginny, your question.
Yeah, no, I already have a page that I put up, but it's been about a year since I've looked at it. And I've had a lot of new books that have been published since then. Will they automatically go there, or do I have to do something to add them?
Yep. You have to go in and you have to go be sure that they're there. Never assume, even if there's automations, never assume everything is Everything there is what you expect it to be.
And do I have a way to order them in such a way? I mean, rather than just having them randomly put them up?
That's another we don't have control over that. I don't believe there's any way for you to do that.
Oh, okay.
I think it'll usually show whatever is the most current on top, but I wouldn't be overly concerned.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we're good, can we move on a little bit? And then I'll answer some more questions. Anybody else have a question right now? Okay. So I think Jeannie's done a great job, and see, if there was an audio CD, well, they still say audio CD. God, I know. What year are we in?
Yeah.
You see where it says other formats: Kindle, Audible, audiobook, and paperback. So when
that's the audible.com.
That's the audio. Yeah. And what would happen is if you click on that, it's going to take you to Audible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's cool is you get a 5-minute sampler.
Oh,
that's what's cool about audible.com.
Exactly.
Listen before you buy.
Yep. And I know for myself, there have been times when I thought I was going to get the audio version of a book, and I listened to the narrator and I said, no, my ears would be bleeding by the time I got to the end.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you want to get a good narrator. And those of you who attended our Sonoma County Writers Conference on Saturday, this past Saturday, got to meet Kendra, God, I'm blanking on her last name. Kendra and Ralph. Ralph Scott, I've got in my head. I think it's Murray. They are the brains and voices behind Squeaky Cheese Productions in Petaluma. And they work with people all over the world doing audio books and audio production. And if you think you want to narrate your own book, they will audition you and let you hear what that sounds like, so you can decide if that's the best choice to get your message across. And they did some amazing things. So I love them. That's Squeaky Cheese Productions. So yeah, anytime you can let people sample what you're doing, whether it's an audiobook, an ebook, or a print book, they're far more likely to decide, yeah, because you've already been generous. You've already given them something that they can use. And like in Mike's case, he might offer one of the worksheets as an enticement to get people into his community and then to buy the book, because I know that's been my experience too. And here, yes, you were next in line, my dear. Mike, okay, we were talking about this early. We've probably known each other about 30 years. We were babies. We, barely could talk when we first met. But Mike, I met Mike in a networking group, and because we were both business consultants, we had something in common. And I was following what he was doing because he was helping people be more effective and efficient with what they were doing in their business. And then when he decided he was going to step back a little bit from that and he started writing, I was just going, oh my gosh, this is so fun. Not only is he writing books, but he's been writing songs. I think that's crazy, but I love it. And you released several of the songs on SoundCloud before the books were out, so people could hear them. It's crazy. But look at all of these. He's got, I know, I love this. He's got his sci-fi books. Then he's got, you're going, wait a minute, is this time travel? What's going on here? I'm making fun. I'm sorry. I am doing that. But I remember when he first had his Grow Your Business without making yourself crazy. This is so funny. And then look down here. He's got his author updates. He's got photos of himself. I love it, on the motorcycle. And he's got a nice bio that goes through the trajectory of his career and his life. And so you've got all this good stuff. And now he's going to add links to other parts of his life and his websites. But look at how many books. That's impressive. When you start to see, multi-book authors, it's really impressive. But you can still do a lot when you just have a single book because it's just the first. It's one of many. So, Mike, you get an A+. I thought yours was a great example.
Judy, the thing
yeah.
that I've always hated about my author page is that it mixes the business books and the science fiction books.
I know. The only way around that, and we've talked about this several times. Okay, my middle initial is M. There are a gajillion Judy Baker authors out there. There's also a number of Judy M. Baker authors out there, but there are fewer of them. But you know what? I come up higher in the search rankings, and you will too, because we've both been around for a long time and we've put content out on multiple channels. The only way to separate the sci-fi from your business, you would have to have a second author page. And so if you've got a middle initial, you would create it under that. But if you're publishing them all under Mike Van Horn, I really wouldn't worry about it, because I just look at, Mike's a creative guy, and he can help me in business, and I happen to like sci-fi, so I can do that. I think it's not as, I think in the olden days, yeah, back before the pandemic, I think people were a little more weird about that you had to be in this box or that box. But I think something that happened, which I am very happy about, is folks realized we are people and we have all these different parts of who we are. And if someone got turned off to the sci-fi books because you write business books or vice versa, they're probably not your audience.
Is it possible to change your name after the fact? I mean, could I go back and stick in a middle initial? Then you would reissue the book. I think you can, and there's probably information in the Author Central stuff. But I would check on that. But I know, like Joanna Penn, she writes these thrillers, and then she writes business books, as does Nick Stevenson also writes in multiple genres. Brian Cohen, Joanna writes under JF Penn, that's her thrillers, and then Joanna Penn is her business books. But you know what? I don't even care. Yeah. If she had them all in one thing, it wouldn't bother me in the least bit. So I think that distinction is less important than it used to be. But if you want to do it, definitely go for it. And I think it's not that hard to do. Okay.
But that's a little beyond what we were going to talk about. And then this is so funny. Okay, so you're looking at Brett in the Zoom screen, and I saw this picture and I thought I was on the wrong page because he's so cute. And I went, wait a minute, who is this guy? So I said, you need a new photo. And I will tell you that issue, when someone goes to see you wherever you are online and it doesn't match up with who you look like now, what happens is it makes us go, huh? And it's very subtle, but it can break people's trust. And I know it's not a big deal, but it is. It's one of those, most of us make assumptions and judgments, and I'm using both of those words, which are loaded, as Joy will tell you. We make those assumptions and judgments in the blink of an eye. And you don't want to turn people off. You want to bring them in. And he's a very relatable guy, but he needs a new picture. But look, he has been involved in the book industry. He worked with Alex Mandossian. He worked with Tony Robbins. So he really knows his stuff. And he's very knowledgeable and he's very down to earth. So that picture does say that. So that is a good thing. But I just couldn't translate who he looks like now with that picture. but he is smiling, and you can see he's got all these books. And then, here he's got all of these great books. And those of you who want to learn, go check out his books. He's got books about writing, he's got books about speaking, and he really can help you out. So I love it. And this is one of his books, The Mistakes Authors Make. Yeah, we just talked about a few of those. It's fabulous. So he really fleshed this out. He's got these videos, he's got his blog posts, lots and lots and lots of content. And partly because he learned from those people he was working for, what they were doing and how to do it in the best way possible. So he's someone you want to go in and start following him, because he is a rock star. And I'm so impressed with that. And then Evelyn, here we got to yours, and you've got your 2 books up. You've got your bio here. Again, I'm going to suggest you put in some social links, a link to your website, entice people to do the next thing. That's what we're really looking to do. We not only want them to buy what we have now, but what's next? How can they continue on your journey? So beyond following, what do you want them to do? And let's see. Oh, Holly isn't here. Holly works with top level folks in the universe. She is so brilliant. She's way over my head. But what she knows is beautiful. And she is a very gifted coach, mentor, and she did include the links to her Golden Thread book club. Y'all can do that. You can create a book club. And for her webinars, she's got the link to her main website. So she did some things right, but hers could be improved. And okay, I think that, yeah, those were all of those. So I'm going to stop the share on that. Do you have questions? Do you have questions about, what's going on those author pages? And Amazon is not the only place you can have an author page. Okay, let me check. I've got messages going down there. Okay. Oh, to add things to your author page, there are very clear instructions through your Amazon Central support account. You can go there. There are tutorials. I don't know. Sometimes I'm wondering who wrote that stuff, because it's like, just tell me I want to do this, this, and this. But yes, you can add additional material, and you can always go in and update it. It's not like you do it and it's done and you can't touch it again. You can go in at any time. And I always advise on all of your social platforms, which I include Amazon as a social platform, you should be monitoring, is my profile still current? Is all the information valid? What's changed? Do that maybe once a quarter, but at the very least once a year. If you just survey all your stuff. So what I was going to do next, because I'm looking at the time and I don't want to shortchange anybody, I was going to share my screen and we'll go through what I sent you as the workbook. And in here, okay, come on out. I'm trying to get it bigger. So your author page masterclass workbook, which was the downloadable. Here's the cover, and we'll just go to the next page here. This again was the sample of my page. And then why we're here today, we're covering what is an author page, why it matters, because it amplifies your authority, and it's a way for you to also have links. Though they're called backlinks. So it's taking you from Amazon and linking to you, and that's a backlink. And the more of those you have, it's Google juice, you got to do it. Oh, this is something new. Did you see that my thumb came up when I did that? If you gesture in front of your camera and you do that, your thumb's going to go up. And if you do this, it's going to raise your hand. I think it's hysterical, but it's new, but it'll start doing that. Um, you're all authorities. You want to showcase that information on your page, and let's go into what you need before you start building, and how you can also monitor what I've given you. This is a good cheat sheet for all of your social profiles to make sure you've got the goodies in there. Okay, let us go to, here is your author profile checklist. And I'm going to tell you, this is your brand profile checklist. This is multi-purpose. I am a person who doesn't like to do the same thing 100 times. I want to do it once. So if you start gathering all of these parts and pieces, your life will be simpler for every opportunity that comes your way. When someone says, oh, could I have this from you? Is this up on your website? Is it up on your profile? You'll know where everything is. You want to be sure you've got, if you have a business logo, you want to have that. Your website, your URL, the book covers. You want to have images of those book covers. You have to have them when you're uploading your book. So you want to have that. What I'm going to suggest you do is you have a folder on your computer where you're putting all of these goodies so you can get to them quickly, either on your computer or in Dropbox or on Google Drive. But put everything in one spot so you aren't having to go, oh, I've got to jump over here, I've got to do that. Every time you have to do that, you are expending time you don't need to do. Do it once. Spend the time to get everything in the basket, and then you're golden. So you've got your book cover, publicity photos, headshot, as I said, videos, social links, the RSS feed. If you have a blog, you'll go into your dashboard and you'll find the information on what is the RSS, and it's just a simple URL link, and that's what's going to go in there. If you've got blurbs, that was something I'm not sure I saw on any of those. If you've got blurbs you want to highlight, you could stick those in your biography area. You could also post them on your website in your blog, and because you've linked your blog to your author page, they would show up there. If you have paid reviews, you want to highlight them. And the verified purchase reviews. Those are all really helpful and important in terms of letting people know other readers found value in what you put together. Lead magnet. If you're offering something like Holly did, she said, oh, come on over to my book club. So put in something so that you can get, the whole idea is if you're on Amazon or Goodreads or another platform, you don't own that. You're trying to get people into your community, onto your email list, and this is the way you can do it. You offer something irresistible and tasty that they want. It could be a tip sheet, a study guide. If you have a course related to your book, again, let people know that, and the video clips. So just as you saw, you have an author central profile on Amazon, you can do the same thing on Goodreads. And Goodreads is owned by Amazon, but they're still kind of like independent. It's a little trickier on Goodreads. If you have a personal account first, great. And then they've got very clear instructions on how you now claim your author profile status. And you have to jump through some hoops. But if you do the Amazon stuff first, you'll be in good shape to do the Goodreads, because Goodreads is the interface is not my friend. But because you've already got all the parts, then you're just going to be plugging them in. And as I said, make a list of your social accounts. The way that I do it, I've got a spreadsheet, because I've got all that information in my password program. But a spreadsheet lets me go, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And if I add something new, I know what it is. And if you use a service like Linktree, sorry, didn't enunciate that, then you want to go and be sure if that's an important social link, you want to go put it into your Linktree account. Now, the beauty of Linktree is that's one URL. And so you're not having to go and, fiddle around with, did I remember to update all my stuff? No, you go to one place and do it. Do you all know about books to read? Here, hang on a second. I'm gonna use my low tech here. Books to read is similar to Linktree, and it is a free way for you to tell people where they can buy your book. But again, only one link, but it then goes, when people click on your books to read free link, it will tell them where they can buy your book. And then you don't have to say, oh, buy my book at Amazon, buy my book at Barnes & Noble, buy my book at Copperfield, blah, 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 blah. So this will save you and your readers headaches. Books to Read is part of the Draft to Digital universe, and they offer that, and it's brilliant. I love it. I tell every author I work with, you want to do that. It's worth it because it's free. Again, it's a social link, and it gets people in your world. I bet all of you have a LinkedIn account. If you've written any kind of business book, did you put that you have your books in your LinkedIn profile? There's a section for publishing where you want to do it, and you could feature your books, but that's for another time. And then if you go through the checklist, you go through all this checklist and you go, okay, I've got this, this, and this, then you can see what's missing. That's why I like checklists, because they keep me honest, and then I'm not scrambling. I can go, oh, I can see that, oh, maybe I need to do a new lead magnet. Maybe I forgot to put the blurbs in there. It reminds you without you having to keep it up here, because I know for me, the more stuff I'm trying to stuff in my head, the less I can remember. It is crazy. Carol, question.
Yes. What would a study guide be, or course materials?
Oh, okay. So your books are middle grade right now, correct?
High school.
High school. Okay. I count that kind of as middle grade.
Oh, right. Okay.
But I'm weird. I don't think it's necessarily, well, there are 3 levels in middle grade. So anyway, it's young adult. We'll say young adult.
Young adult.
Young adult. So, and Jenny, I'll get to you in a second. A study guide. Well, Jeannie, do you want to answer that? Because I think you know exactly what I'm talking about, having been a teacher. It kind of gets people, it's a companion to your book. Would that be correct?
Are you saying, Jenny?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Jeannie Jusitis. I forgot. I know.
Here's
Yeah.
Jusitis.
I know. It's like me. I never meet other Judys until I was in my 60s, and then I was in a choir with 6 of us. Okay. So Jeannie Jusitis, if you'd answer that question, I'd love it.
Unmute. Jeannie, unmute.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I have 2 questions about.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was asking Jeannie Jusitis to answer my question about the study guide.
Oh, okay.
And then
I'm not quite sure what her study guide is, but yeah, I think you said something about it being a companion to the book, and that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I would add something if I can.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it would help students by, if it's a novel, mentioning the theme, mentioning maybe a tiny note about why they think the author wrote that book. Talking about characters and what kind of characters come in here in terms of their antagonistic or potential for tension, right? Which makes
Yeah.
a strong novel if you're talking about a novel. And
Yeah.
of course, if it's Shakespeare, then it's going to break down some of the poetry. It's going to break down some of the Anglo-Saxon. That's a short version.
That's
This
perfect.
is nonfiction.
Oh, no, you can do it with fiction too.
Yeah, but I
Nonfiction
have
could be done.
nonfiction.
Yeah.
I know you have
Nonfiction.
nonfiction. Yours nonfiction is easier to do a study guide. But you
Much
can do a study
easier.
guide
You
for
would be still
either.
looking at your main points. And then
Yeah.
you would probably have, if you want to break down a couple of things for people who have really trouble reading and focusing, of here's the line through my nonfiction book that I keep reiterating because it's one of the most important things you can get from my book, that kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
So that when your reader
Yes.
comes away from the book and they want to write a review, they say, I learned that for sure, right? Because she reminded me
Yes.
several times. And at the end, she summarized why that was such an important, why did she write the book? Why should I read it?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so you're bringing people in again. And okay, so Jenny, you had a question. What was
Yeah, I
that?
have two questions that I put in
Okay.
the chat. One is for the purchase reviews. Are you linking to them, or is it basically you're copying and pasting the review in your profile?
I'm trying to think what would be the best way to do that. I'm not 100% sure. So I would have to research that, my dear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then my other question was you mentioned lead magnets.
Yes.
Now I know you can put lead magnets on your website, and then people click the link, and then it goes to an email, and then the email sends it out, so you capture the email. Is this one where you do it that way, or are you basically providing the lead magnet right there that they click and they get the lead magnet?
You never want people, when you're doing a lead magnet, the idea is you're giving a link and then they have to fill in their information. So it's not an immediate download.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Good.
Okay. Yeah. You always want to do that. I am struggling here. Can you tell me who's got their hands raised? I can't.
Let me lower my hand.
Okay. Cassie, go for it.
Yeah, so it's not so much a question. It's just because you keep me like mentioning with the Linktree, and Linktree is a really great tool. I used it for a long time, and then I actually started one of the ways that I've been able to work with people is we've actually just created an extra page on their website and created it kind of in the same style of the Linktree. And so so that way it helps to drive all the traffic to your website versus sending them to Linktree. Now Linktree picks up all of that traffic, and now so it just becomes an additional page on your thing. And I just call it a Let's Connect page. And so I'll tell people, hey, if you want to connect with me on social, if you wanted to connect with me, that's what I'll stick into, like my Instagram account, my Amazon, my like all the different places. And so then you're constantly driving traffic to your website, and then it just helps with all the things, because that's the end goal, right?
Well, exactly. And I like what you just said. That was my point. It wasn't necessarily that tool, which I think is very cool, but replicating it on your website is brilliant, because again, now maybe you've got Linktree and you've got your website. So you're not having to go out to a gazillion places to update information when it changes. And trust me, it does.
It does change.
It does.
But and also one of the nice things about actually linking it on using that additional page on your website is now you can keep it in your brand colors, your brand fonts, if you have any photos or pictures to go with it. One of my clients, we just did a big book launch for. We literally have like an image to go with every single link that she's got. Yeah. Just going down that row, and it shows up in that same format as you would find on a Linktree, but it's just a little bit more robust.
That's
so,
this is what I love, because Cassie's focus is on building websites. It didn't occur to me to do that. But of course, now I'm going to do it because, it's like a blinding flash of the obvious. And I just think that is tremendous. So thank you so much. I am so happy that you were here and shared that with everyone. Yay. Anybody else have a question, a hand up?
I have an idea that
Yeah.
I learned from a really great marketer, a great human being. Anyway, he started this book marketing thing. He actually sort of got shooed into it as one of his business things, and then
Yeah.
he became an author, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I've told Redwood Writers all about him. At the moment, I'm blanking his name, but one thing he said, which I thought totally rocked my boat, because I wanted to have a way that if I wanted publicists to get the information from me, it wouldn't stress me out, is
Yeah.
to put all this information in a Google Doc or in whatever you've got a place where people can go and download it securely that doesn't get hacked. So now they can get everything, headshots, bio,
Yep.
everything, links to your videos, maybe a sample video, the whole thing in one place, so that when
Yes.
you want to go in for a talk, which I understand public speakers don't want to have to just talk about your book. That's very limited.
Oh,
They don't want it
exactly.
in an infomercial. They want to know what else you're
Mhm.
passionate about and what you feel confident to speak about. So
Yes.
he did this for years, and he said, you just go in and update it. And as soon as somebody says, I want you to speak, or I want you to come on podcast, you say, go here, pal, you got it.
And I'm going to reiterate what Deborah just said, because that's your online media kit. And I am going to be having Lynette Hoy of Fire Talker PR come and be a guest on one of the master classes. That she does a whole program on how to create your media kit, how to then reach out to do your PR. And so yes, that's exactly the point. You want those things to be easy and accessible. And when I first did it on this one website, I didn't have it that way. And now I'm in the process of rebranding. So I'm going through all of the pain and torment, but because I already know stuff, I can do it. So it's good. Oh yes, I'm raising my own hand. I know it. I think it maybe only does it on mobile, because so it's picking. That was from my tablet that it's picking it up.
Can we do this as a comedy routine?
I think
It's
so. I think
brilliant,
that's
Judy.
I think I'm going to be doing stand up next.
We could do, we'd probably get a lot of hits on YouTube. You and Redwood Writers doing the comedy of, and just these bloopers. They're fabulous and
They
they're
are
funny.
so funny. They are funny. Well, the first time it happened, I thought, what is going on? Someone said that, and I went, no, it doesn't do that. But it only does it on mobile, because I think it's more. So if I do this, it'll see. It just did my thumb.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, I'm going to get back to what we're doing. So the thing that you want to look at, this one. Let's see. Will it let me? Oh yeah, it'll let me do that. So I'm going to get my. What do I want? I want. I think this is what I want. Okay. Will it let me do that? Yeah. No, it's not letting me do it the way I want to. Never mind. I was gonna. Oh, I can do that. All right. So we'll do that. So this is your one sentence. Oh, I have to lower my hand over here. Oh, sorry, hold on. It's going to drive me nuts. Go down. Your one sentence, irresistible positioning statement. I'm not talking about your book right now. I'm talking about you. Why would someone want to talk to you? What is it? Monetizing your book. Taking your book from pages to stages. That's part of my positioning statement. And I didn't do it quite right, but I'll do it. Let me try it again. Taking your message from pages to stages, monetizing your book without going broke or crazy. And if someone doesn't want to talk to me after I've said that, I don't know why. Because I certainly would be curious to know, how do you do that? So think about that. You can also include in there who you do it for, but because what I'm talking about, and because I know where my audience is, I primarily work with nonfiction authors, but everything that I know applies to fiction and nonfiction. It's just that you have some other issues with fiction that you don't have with nonfiction and vice versa. So that is one piece. The other is, what's the purpose of your book? Looking at, well, like my memoir. My memoir is to show women with ovarian cancer that they can be in charge of their treatment, and through the process, they can gain more confidence, resilience, and come out on the other side better than they were before. So I'm very particular who this is for. It's for women with ovarian cancer. And it's not going to be a long book. It's a guidebook. So those two things are critical. And let me just get, oh, there we go. Oh, this is fun. I haven't done this before. This is way fun. And then the email list. I've kind of mentioned this a gazillion times here. Your email list is so important, because when you have an email list, then you are now having an intimate conversation one-to-one, because when people are looking at their email, they're not doing other stuff. They're looking at that email. And over time, you're not saying, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. You're sharing great stuff with people. You can ask them questions. You can invite them to things. So if you don't already have an email list with a lead magnet and a service provider like Active Campaign or Lead Pages or Constant Contact, you want to start thinking about, am I serious about this? And then you can start building that community. So you've got all of these, you've got all of these great things to think about. How you're going to get people involved. And then what is it about your book that helps people? Is it their solution? How does it help them? Is it, well, he's got books and he's got workbooks. If you've got a nonfiction book, you damn well better have, you should have, no, I'm going to go back to the other one. You damn well better have a workbook as a companion, because you already have the information in your book, but you can pull that out, and now you've got not one book, you've got two books. And as Mike said, he's going to offer PDFs for those who are getting an e-version of the book. Think about, okay, here's my content. How many ways can I split it out? That's how you start monetizing it. And then thinking about, oops, I'm sorry, I just jumped one. I jumped a little bit far. Oh, I apologize. Yes, I went too far. You want to think about what you're going to do beyond having people read your book. Are you inviting them to be part of a community, a membership community, a paid membership community? You can have a free one or a paid one, but you can promote the content by taking pieces of your book and sharing it. Quotes. Well, Cassie and I talked about this the other day too. If you haven't done it already, go through every chapter of your book and find something that you could pull out and share. And you could share it as an audiogram. You could make an audiogram. You could do a quote. You could use Canva and take that quote and then put it into something and make it visual. So ways that you can feed the world with your message and, be really generous. And then I also included my website and book promotion checklist, which some of the things are a duplicate, but not everything. And now I will update this afterwards because of what Cassie said, to replicate that Linktree idea. And you know what? I didn't put Linktree in there. But this is something you can look at offline, because I think most of you have all these goodies, and there are just some other things to inspire you. And this will help you, this page, the Build Your Brand, Build Your Audience, that will help you if you have some concerns about your platform. And the platform just means your collected body of work. It's not something exotic. It's not something separate from who you are. It's every time you've published a book. It's every time you've spoken. It's every time you've had a conversation, when you've gotten media attention. That's your platform, your social platform, everything, all of that good stuff. And then, look at your goals and what makes sense to you, but always, why are you interesting? What about you is interesting that would make me want to now go and find out about your books and your courses and all those good things that you have? So I'm going to incentivize you to, do something with that. And then if you have a WordPress website, I included some of the plugins that I use that I felt were very helpful. And this is my speaker. This is my media sheet. This is not a speaker sheet. There is a distinction, and that's a whole nother topic. But in here, if I'm going to ask your help. I'm looking for opportunities where I can speak to a larger audience. And this will give you a good sense of what I do. And just look at this one thing. This is one of the things I put in here. I worked with one of my clients, Deborah Myers, and several of you know her. And because we worked together, she was able to add $10,000 to her bottom line. Now that might not seem like a big number, but it was significant for her. And we've continued this process, taking the content in her books and using it for courses, using it for other speaking opportunities. So you want to highlight what you're doing. And this whole idea of doing a media one sheet, I learned from Nancy Jutton, who does Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp. And Joy and I were in there together. So good. Such valuable information. Oops, sorry. I'm using a trackpad, and sometimes I just go zoop. I used 2 fingers and it went. I just wanted to use one. Okay, so let me get that to go down here. And do you see? I did it again. All right, let's see if I can do this without making it so crazy. I'm going to go actual size. At the bottom, I have a link. So people can book a Book Buzz audit. Now, that's one way, that's time. I'm going to advise you might not want to do that. You might want to make it the giveaway that is a piece, like a PDF, and then invite people to talk to you. Because, it depends on how much time you have. And then I've got my topics at the bottom. I've got 5 mistakes authors make that keep their books from selling, how to reboot your book. So people get a sense of what I talk about. And I'm also working on one about integrating my cancer journey, which was a whole process of learning resilience, which you need to be resilient when you're an author, because stuff shows up all the time. And then you have some information about what's coming up next from me. And I really would like to invite you to, show up for the master classes. And I have to change that, Brett. I'm sorry, I screwed up. I had that in my head before we talked. So that, yes, the next masterclass is going to be about getting ready to be a speaker. Because you know what? The more times you speak, the more books you're going to sell. And the book is an entree into speaking and getting paid for it. So that's very important. And I'm going to just, you all have this. I'm going to stop my screen share and then I can see you all again. I want to know if there's any last questions. something that I can help you with, or are you all good with me sharing your contact information with the folks that are here?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I trust everybody. No one here is going to spam you. I don't hang out in that world.
Too much trouble.
I know it's just, why, I don't know why people do that. It's just stupid to me. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's about paid reviews.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get paid reviews?
Mike, I know you've done it. You submitted your book to Kirkus, correct?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
do
you
that.
didn't. You didn't. I thought you did. Okay. Brett, do you want to answer that one?
Now, I honestly have never really solicited a paid review myself, Judy, because I know so many people in the industry. I had no trouble getting enough reviews for a book and online. So I've never had to go the paid route, honestly.
Yeah.
Or ideas about reviews, period.
Well, my feeling is organic first, organic, which means authentic, and just what Brett said. Some people put value on paid reviews like Kirkus, or I think is it Midwest Book Review. They can elevate you to some people. If you're writing a more academic book, I think then you want to have that validation. But to me, paying for a review is, like saying, okay, let me do this. And they're getting a lot of money, but it may be like a single line. And I'll be very honest, that has never influenced me in buying a book.
No.
What influences me is reviews by people like me.
I find them very generic, the Kirkus reviews.
Oh, I know.
You could tell that they probably never read the book.
Yeah.
I know. It's like, ugh. So yeah,
Very generic.
They're generic. And if you are building your email list and you've got, it's not just friends and family. Brett just said something very important. He knows people in the industry because he's worked in the publishing industry and the online marketing arena and, selling from the stage. Think about who's in your community who, is a peer, who you respect, who would be willing to give you a testimonial or a blurb. Then what you want to do is say, okay, make a list of your dream influencer. And maybe you want to be Reese, in Reese Witherspoon's book club, or still in Oprah's book club, or who is an influencer in your area of expertise. And long before you ever ask for a favor, like writing a testimonial, you want to cultivate that relationship. But I'm going to tell you, this was so funny. So remember when I started, before, not all of you were here yet. Last night, I got to see Charlotte Stewart, who was on Little House on the Prairie and in Eraserhead. And she's got her CVA is, I don't think I have enough room for it. She was friends with Neil Young. She did she did a film with him. He did a blurb for her. David Lynch, the director from Eraserhead and from Twin Peaks. This was fun. Her story was so funny. She said, David called her up after the book came out. He called her up and, he was deaf. He had a real severe hearing problem. And so he always shouted. He said, do you have a pen? And he dictated the blurb that, here it is. Charlotte Stewart is my kind of girl, a talented, courageous actress, a loyal friend, and one who brings happiness to work. David Lynch, who directed Charlotte in Eraserhead and Twin Peaks. So that is on the back of her book.
Very cool.
And again, she got blurbs from, really big names because she'd been in the industry forever, since 1958. That was her first job. So you've got friends, you know people, reach out to them and say, I'd really love it if you would, and sometimes this is what Neil Young did. He said, what do you want me to say? So you can send what you want people to say and say, feel free to change this. And then here's where I want you to post it. So ask. You don't ask, you don't get. Jeannie.
I can add something. When my first book was published, I started joining organizations.
Yes.
So I joined the Pacific Coast Air Museum. I got a tremendous blurb from a fighter jet pilot. I joined the National Women's History Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
They are a fabulous connection, and they're based in Santa Rosa.
Mm-hmm.
There's even a military organization, authors of military books. So just by joining organizations related to what you're writing about, I'm writing about nurses right now, and I'm going to find the highest rank nurse I can find in the county.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. That is a perfect way to end this. You all are brilliant. You've got this group right here today. Take advantage of it. You've got me as a resource. Save the chat. Save the chat. Go over to the chat. There are 3 little buttons, and you want to click on the 3 buttons, and then it will say save chat, and you can say, how you want it, and then you click on the page icon that's next to it, and you say where you want it to show up. And I'm going to be saving the chat. I'll have it, and I'll send it out. You know what? I'll make it easy for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it super easy. I'm going to be saving.
I didn't find the 3 little buttons.
It's okay. Well, and it also depends on what device you're on, if you can find those things. But I'm going to be saving the chat, and I'm going to include it in the follow-up email that's going to go out. So that you'll have all those goodies. Because seriously, authors need to be in a community like this where we help each other. Because the more we can do that, we can raise our visibility. And I don't know about you, but it just feels so good to me to be able to help other people. I don't want anyone to have to stumble. I don't want you to waste time doing stuff. If I know how to do it faster and better, and just like Cassie was so generous and shared information, Brett is, seriously, you have got to book a conversation with Brett. If you want to know almost anything in publishing that I don't know, you should talk to Brett. We know some things together too. And for running a business, no one's better than Mike. And if you like sci-fi, definitely talk to him. Carol, I'm going to make a suggestion too. Because your books are in that teen area, reach out to school librarians and offer to come into a classroom and say, I would love to do a presentation. There are authors out there that, all of us might be able to go into either a junior high, high school, college class and say, you're doing this course and I'd love to come in and be a guest. Yeah, I'm telling you the truth. Be a guest lecturer and ask them to request your book. That's how you get into the bookstore, because trying to get into the bookstores is really icky for schools. But that's an easy way to do it. So things like that, share what you know, ask questions. That's how I learned. I just kept showing up, like I didn't know anything. I kept showing up. I mean, I knew about marketing, but I didn't know about book publishing. The more you expose yourself to education, the better off you're going to be. But also in groups like this is where you really get that warm support that all of us are craving. And with that, I'm going to send you off into the day. You've been marvelous. This was so much fun. That's the other thing. I love doing this because it's fun, and you were all brilliant. So if you got questions about your author pages, come on and talk to me. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Awesome. This was great.
I love these reactions. That's new to me. I gave you a heart.
I see that. I'm giving it right back. So thank you all, and I'll be sending out the recording. Take care and have a fabulous day.
Okay.
You too.
Thanks, Judy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.